Hello. Thank you so much for joining me again for a little interview with Nicole Myden, the owner of the PRConcierge and publicity expert. Nicole, thank you for joining
Oh,
me.
you're so welcome. I'm so grateful.
So what I was hoping you could help us with today is just getting our minds wrapped around publicity, press, what it can mean in our businesses, and how to do it.
Yes, the biggest questions ever that I get, right? Why are we here? Why do we care about press? So I always tell everybody publicity is really powerful, and I feel like it can be a very intimidating thing for people. So I like to keep it really simple and fun. I've been doing it for 21 years. Not really sure how I've been doing it this long, but I obviously love connecting people and I love being able to help people get their stories out into the press, which is really my role. I'm kind of this middle woman to a client or a brand, and then the connection to the press, which then pushes their story out. So why people would want publicity. Do they need it? No, but can it help them? 100%, right? So I've worked with so many clients over the years, huge national consumer brands. Now I focus more on helping so many small brands because through my own personal journey, I started connecting more the last years, especially with so many creators and entrepreneurs who were just starting out in their businesses and really wanting them to feel that they were also worthy of press, just like the big brands. And I think a lot of people have that mindset when they're starting a business, or even if it's a small kind of side business, that they're not worthy of getting publicity or ending up on TV or ending up in a magazine. But I feel obviously that's not the case, because everybody really essentially has a story as to what prompted them to start that business, right? So the root of the press actually becomes emphasizing that story. What in your journey, like what is the why that got you to do what you're doing? And then we have to hone in on getting that messaging out there. So it's kind of stepping back and just realizing that we all have a story to tell and we're worthy of telling it. When it comes to press, though, it's finding that right time when you're ready to actually tell it properly. And that's, I think, when the press actually manifests.
So maybe not in the middle of the story before you've really figured out where it's going. And I love how you mention entrepreneurs that are just starting out, because I feel like so many new businesses, and new being even a handful of years old, think that press is some landing spot, that's once they're finished, yes, you're saying finished with a level of your story, but I feel like so many newer businesses think, oh, well, I'll have to wait until
Right.
XYZ huge thing has happened in my business before anybody's willing to hear about it or interested in hearing about it. And you're telling us that's not necessarily the case, right?
Not the case at all. I like people to look at publicity as an energy exchange, right? So we have all these different layers of our business. We have accounting, we have legal, you've got financing, you've got maybe digital marketing ad spend for Facebook or Instagram ads, right? Well, publicity is another kind of leg of the business. Do you need it? No. But if you're going to bring it into your business and you're going to focus on getting press, you have to realize, and what I encourage so many of the students I work with to realize, is that it's an energy thing. So you should only put energy into publicity when you feel excited about it, when you feel ready to add that into the mix. Because in order for publicity to happen, and in order for you to end up on TV or get in magazines or end up, contributing on an online site that you love, you have to create time and you have to create space to actually coordinate and handle the opportunity. So it's a big mindset shift that I try to get a lot of small entrepreneurs to realize. Like I said earlier, do you need press? No, but how can it help you? Well, I'm very big on reminding people that you do not go into publicity expecting to get sales from it. You go into
Love that.
publicity expecting that you are going to raise further brand awareness, because as you're continuing to get more press and you end up on your local morning news show and you end up on, getting a magazine placement and you end up with all these things that start happening and building, it naturally is going to attract new customers to you. You're going to be in a place of momentum where those press placements are going to lead to other press placements, and you're going to create this beautiful ripple. So ultimately, we're just contributing to the energy of the buzz of your business.
So it sounds like it's important to look at this very differently than ad spend or advertising,
Yes.
because I think advertising budget and energy is looked very much as a give and take formula. I gave $1,000 towards this advertisement. I need to get 3 new clients for that to make financial sense. And press has just a whole different energy about it, it sounds like.
100%. You just explained that
perfectly.
The
long game, right?
The long game. Publicity is the long game, because like I said, the one opportunity, the momentum of that will lead to other things. And if you can go into engaging in publicity, whether you're aligning with a consultant like myself or a PR agency, or even doing it on your own, which I know I'm going to give a couple of tips on how to do, you've got to kind of go about it with detachment to outcome and just trust that somebody at some point will want to feature you, and that one thing will lead to a bunch of other things. It's just the law of attraction, right? I mean, I've seen it happen for 21 years, and I'm watching it happen with so many small business owners I work with now. So the proof is there. I think like anything, as we're starting out in our businesses, we just have to have patience and understand that if a press opportunity doesn't happen right now for us, maybe it'll happen maybe 2 or 3 months down the road, and that's when it was supposed to happen.
And then you can still nurture some of those relationships.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I mean, the biggest thing with press, and one of the biggest things that I teach, is if you genuinely want to get into a magazine, or you genuinely want to land on a morning show, or, even local in your market and eventually on a national show, my biggest piece of my business as a publicist is building relationships. I happen to be somebody who is a people person, so it is no doubt that I do this for a living. But the reason that the press placements happen is because you're looking for, like you said, that long game. We want to build meaningful relationships with journalists. The goal is for them to see us as a reliable, trusted resource that they can continue to come back to use for their press opportunities.
Make their job a little bit easier, right?
We want to make their job easier, and we want to show them that we are here with our A game. We've got all the materials they need. We're keeping things easy and organized for them. And that's how the trust is built. Just like anything in life, but especially if we're wanting to engage in press, we've got to focus on building meaningful, genuine, authentic relationships.
And isn't that such a theme in business altogether? I know when I'm working with people that are trying to build or scale a business,
yes,
making sure they are building what I say IRL, in real life,
yes,
connections and relationships is key. You cannot live under a rock and grow a business at the rate most people want their businesses to grow. Yeah. And by having relationships, press or otherwise, having a network of people, it's almost like having this free marketing team that's out in the world singing your praises, because you have these relationships and they know about you. They know your business. They know your own integrity, and your friends in your network, especially, you're mentioning press people, but especially other entrepreneurs, they want to tell other people about you, right?
Absolutely. That was such a great way of explaining it. And it's so true. It's like everybody will eventually become like a loyalist and ambassador for you, right? And it's very evident to press, or I should say to journalists or media, if a publicist or a business owner is coming at them from an I'm worthy, I'm overly worthy, feature me. You are worthy, but we want to come from a humble place of realizing, like, take me and the vanity of the press placement out of the equation and come from a place of service in our messaging. So how are we helping their audience get educated on a topic? What solution are we providing as the expert we are, or the product we've created to help an industry or a group of people have better lives? we want everything to be from service, service, service. So how can I help their audience? How can I help their viewers? And when you come at it from that energy, all of a sudden it's less about us and the vanity of, oh, I'm going to read a magazine, but more, my mission is going to help serve millions of people or thousands of people, right? And that is the energy we want to be in with press. We want it to be of a place of gratitude, appreciation for the opportunity, because it's going to help us reach more people to help.
And I feel like that makes total sense, because when you or I pick up a magazine or, you know, turn on a channel and decide to spend our time consuming information, do we want to consume somebody talking all about how awesome they are? Or do we want to consume something that's valuable to us?
That's right. And consumers are so smart. And really the root of publicity is the goal of any business owner in my mind. And I've always said this to huge CEOs at, you know, massive consumer global brands, and even to small business owners. The goal is to always create an emotional connection with the consumer. And by us being vulnerable to tell our story or to share more in our messaging, we're immediately creating that kind of gateway to have the consumer connect with us on an emotional human level. That's why I always say to brands that you want the person who created the product or who launched the company to be outward facing in the press, because we want the consumer to build that emotional tie to that person, because once that emotional tie is there and they see you more and they hear from you more as to why you created what you did, they're going to turn over their credit card. And not only are they going to turn over their credit card once, they're going to keep coming back and follow whatever you do, because now you've built trust with them.
And so it sounds like, now, of course, we all put a little bit of a filter on for propriety, for lack of a better way. But if we catch ourselves approaching press and only wanting a certain part of us shown and wanting to like really, really filter, it's probably not going to resonate then, right?
Yeah, you really want to go into it. I think that's great to call out, like, you know, it should be a very non-resistant thing, right? So it's
like,
a
oh, I can't
challenge.
say that.
Yeah, but it's like, we got to take the ego out and just be like, I'm here again to just get this message out. Share it like you're sharing it so passionately, right, with your best friends. I just launched this business. I'm so excited to help people because, or this is why this helped me in my journey. And now I created something that's going to help so many other people out there, hopefully have the same experience I did, right? So consumers can sniff out, you know, they're smart. I think we need to, we're all consumers. We know, we can see what's authentic or what's not. And it's not coming from a place of judgment. There's plenty of people who are, you know, very vain out there who are getting a ton of press. God bless them. But again, to your point earlier, if we're looking for long run and long term, we want to just be who we are and know that the right opportunities will come, and they will, because I see it happen every day.
Because you're there, you see it. So if somebody is just starting out and now they're realizing, okay, press is not the same as the ad that I purchased. Right. That's okay. It's all right to purchase ads too, correct?
Yes. Yeah, and I'm a huge fan of ads for the reason that you gave earlier, because especially with digital, you do get an immediate ROI, or you get that return feeling, so you understand where your money's being spent. I suggest to people that if you are in a place where you don't have a lot of budget and you're starting out, do not pay to engage with a PR person, because you should hire a PR person and spend the money on press when there's ample flow of income and you're not going to feel stretched. Like, oh,
I need to make that $1,000 back next month.
That's right. That's right. And so that's also why I started teaching a lot of small business owners how to do some of these things on their own, because usually when people are starting out, they've got so many other expenses that they are not necessarily in a place where they can hire somebody like myself or a company to do it for them.
Okay. So if we are starting on our own, and adding one more piece to that growth puzzle in a business, what are, you know, a handful or less, you know, 3 to 5 things that a business owner can put as part of their regular schedule to try to start looking for press opportunities for themselves?
Great question. So here's how I like to explain it. This is kind of a quick and dirty, and I think anybody can do this. So with publicity, the biggest thing is just creating some organization. And I think this is, again, super achievable to do as long as you create the time for it. So what I would say first and foremost is you want to start out by taking an hour and actually looking to see if you have the tools, as I like to call them. So what do we need before we can even start reaching out to a TV producer or a magazine outlet or an online outlet or a community to speak in, all of these things? We need to have amazing lifestyle photography shots of ourselves as the CEO or the brand spokesperson. If you have a product-based company, you want to have beautiful, high-resolution JPEG images of those products. And I know people get worried about, oh, no, I got to go spend money on photography or have videos. In this day and age, especially with all this young talent out there, you could even tap into local community colleges and see if somebody just wants to build their portfolio and get some experience and, you know, hire someone even at a really low cost, or maybe they're willing to do it for free as kind of like an intern type of thing, right? So there's ways to get around, but we have to have strong imagery. So product imagery and then personal imagery.
And so you said
Then
lifestyle photos. You're meaning that's not your blue gradient background shot where you're like this, right?
right, right. You want to have really beautiful, you know, when I say lifestyle photos, like if you look at, you know, something that's personal, that's you. Maybe it's you in your workspace. Maybe it's you out and about outside with a beautiful, you know, outdoor scenery. Something that shows your personality, gives somebody insight to who you are. You definitely don't want like a principal kind of high school photo, right? So imagery will be key because this will give the journalist insight to who you are. The other thing is you want to have a place to direct people to purchase your service or business. So even if you're not in a place where you're starting out where you can afford the full website to go live, how about just having a landing page that we can direct people back to? So photography, a place to bring them back to, whether it's a brick and mortar actual physical location that you can put an address to, or a website / landing page, okay? These are just basic things. And then lastly, you want to have like a small intro paragraph / bio to who you are and why you do what you do and what the solution is that you create, right? So that gives them some dose of some differentiating messaging, who you are, again, why you do what you do. So those are the key tools. So you want to get all that organized.
You got to be able to push out, right?
That's right. So those are going to give you basically all the things that we would need to include in our email and the outreach. So take an hour or so, make sure you've got all that organized and that you have it accessible on your desktop or in your email in one place that's easy to get to. The second thing I would suggest is that you carve out in your schedule, and you can literally block out time in your calendar. You can do it personally, or you can delegate it out to an intern. I would carve out 1 hour a week to actually research journalists that you want to reach out to. And what I suggest is what I like to call kind of building your own media Rolodex. So you can take old school like I do. I love a good Excel grid. If you want to use a Google spreadsheet, you can do that too.
I love Excel.
Yeah, I love Excel. I've been working on Excel forever. So essentially what you want to do is, again, either yourself or delegate it to an intern. You want to create a media database of your own. So if you're in a local market, you want that intern or you to start Googling, and you want to research all the local TV stations, okay? You want to research all the local magazines, all the local newspapers, and all the local radio stations / podcasts that you can find. The great thing for anybody wanting to do press on their own right now is that most of this information is very outwardly accessible for free just by doing a Google search. Back in the day, we had to pick up the phone and it would take hours.
Who do I reach for,
That's
whatever
right.
department? Yeah.
But the great thing is, if you look at a lot of the local TV station websites, for instance, a lot of their news anchors now, you can find their emails hyperlinked. So essentially what you want to do in this grid is you want to create a database of the people in your local market who are media that you would want to reach out to about your business. And the idea of housing it all into this one grid will help you get organized. The reason these steps are so important in getting your tools organized, getting your outreach list organized, is that when you go to outreach to them and you start sending emails and pitches, you want to come from a place of like pure organization and pure light and ease. And you don't want to be scrambling and looking for contacts at the last minute. So
Like we talked
organizing
about
them.
earlier, we're kind of helping this journalist make their life easier. If you're emailing them more work to do, they may not appreciate it or be
That's
so excited, you know?
That's right. And we want to go to them with everything we know they're going to need in that email, which is part of the tools we talked about. And now we've got their contact that we've pulled from Google, or maybe calling the station or the magazine to confirm. And it's really great to start with like a nice regional list of where your business is based. National press will always come, but I always tell, especially small business owners, you really want to make a mark in your local market. You want to become that go-to person in your market for your niche or your area of expertise. So do not negate local media opportunities. They are powerful and they will ultimately lead to more national opportunities. So if you're just starting out, I would say to create less overwhelm, really focus on building that Rolodex for your local regional market. And, podcasts, obviously, you can add in there, like I said. So start building out that list, get that super organized, and then you will be ready to actually formulate emails and have yourself or an intern take your imagery and take your landing page and take your messaging and actually craft it into an email to this direct contact that you now have from your Google spreadsheet or your Excel spreadsheet. And the goal in the outreach is to say to them, like, I have something that I know is going to help educate your viewers in such a powerful way. I have something that I know is going to be an amazing solution for your audience to know about. Here are 3 to 5 bullets of what I'd like to talk about and come on your show. Or here's 3 to 5 bullets of how I'd like to contribute an article to your magazine to help people with this solution, right? So keeping the email really short and sweet. We want to hyperlink to your website, hyperlink to your Dropbox images, put those 3 to 5 bullets. Here's how I can help you. Here's how I can serve your audience. Boom, boom, boom. And, start there and keep it really simple. Now, everything I just talked about takes time. So I think the key thing to remember is you have to block out time in your schedule or none of this will get done. So the prep work that I just gave you for the tools and the building out of the Rolodex, that will take time. Once those things are done, you can get into a maintenance mode where maybe you carve out 1 hour a week to just jam on pitching and outreach, and that's it.
And I love how you mentioned, the most time consuming part being that Rolodex. That is an excellent job for an intern or a VA.
Yes.
That may not always be the best use of a business owner's time. One thing I similarly think of is when I work with businesses that the owner is still doing all of their own bookkeeping. I tell them, you are the most expensive bookkeeper you could possibly have hired.
Amen.
And so I do think that having an assistant, a VA, an intern,
Yes.
those are excellent people. Or even, you talk about interns that are college students that are trying to work towards getting work in media. There's an excellent job to hire them to put together this Rolodex, giving them experience in getting the ball rolling on this and it not being pushed off.
100%. And I would say on that, a couple of other just like last minute key things is that you definitely want to make sure, even if you're delegating it to the intern or the VA, or if you're doing it, that you're going to the right person. And this is really important because, for instance, if you're a fitness coach and you have content you want to share or tips you want to share around workouts, you're not going to pitch the beauty editor at a magazine, right? That's a totally different person. A lot of times you'll really want to open that magazine and look in the masthead where the names are listed and make sure that you're getting that right contact, right? So just be cautious that you're going to the right person. Sometimes we're lucky enough for the journalist to be super sweet and available to reply back and be like, you know what, I'm not the right person. Please reach out to so-and-so. Sometimes they don't respond at all. Just know if you don't get a response, it doesn't mean that you are not going to get press ever. It means that they're getting hundreds, if sometimes
Yeah,
thousands
they're not sitting there
of
talking crap about you for
right.
more than likely.
And patience is such a big part of the PR process. So, you know, I have contacts I work with still, you know, I have people that respond right away. I have people that get back to me a month later, and then that opportunity materializes for the client. So it's really just kind of like knowing that you're going to push it out there and trust that the timing will align. And if it doesn't, then we move on to the next opportunity.
That's why you have a whole Rolodex.
That's
now,
right.
when we have a lot of the people I work with have not a new business, a successful business, they're ready to scale it, take it next level. The owner's not trying to DIY all this stuff. When they say, hey, my ad spend's working, we've got a machine running, I'm ready to have a professional take my publicity, run with it, and get us some press. How can they work with you?
Oh my gosh. Well, that is a fabulous question. And I'm always excited when people do come to me, because I know that they're coming to me when they're ready to kind of rock and roll. And the benefit of obviously working with someone like me or a consultant or an agency is that we have been doing this for so long. And so it becomes a faster process if you invest the money with someone like us to do. Or we also have a lot of the relationships handy with the journalists to bring opportunities to clients faster. So if anybody does want to work with me, I've certainly kind of created some more fair and tangible opportunities to do so now with everything that's going on in the world. So I do work with clients on a retainer, long-term basis that are a little bit larger clients, but for some of the smaller businesses, I have projects that I've created where maybe somebody just wants to work together for 1 month. Maybe it's a 3-month project for a launch around something that they're about to introduce to the market. I also now offer 1-hour consulting calls to just kind of do strategy work with people who are just starting out and want to learn a little bit more about this. So anybody can find me on Instagram at Nicole Myden, or they can email me at nicole@theprconcierge.com.
Excellent. And I will make sure and type that all out, have links for you when we post this. Nicole, I can't wait for us to catch up more, but for now, thank you again.
You're so welcome. And I'm so excited for your community and that they get to experience you and all your wisdom. So
excellent. Well, we will talk soon, my friend. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.